In by Álvarez, and the referee Hector Opua stopped it.
Cintron was throwing back, but he was taking.
Not bad, a little smoky in here. Hold on, let me fix this chat really quick. Yeah, if you haven't got the news, Showtime Championship Boxing, November the 6th, 2021 is going to be broadcasting Canelo Álvarez, WBC, WBA Super, WBO, Ring Magazine 168-pound champion, taking on IBF champion Caleb Plant. History controversy with FightView360.com. Take your time out. I put everything down below in the description box. So I got a bunch of links down there for you for Apple, Google, Android, Roku TV, and you'll be able to now catch my videos and other content creators' videos on the WBC app. It's been a lot going on. I've been making some upgrades, and I guess you can say it's officially like fight season, I guess you can say, because hear me out. Now, every single week until 2022, we have a significant fight, bar that no other fighters get COVID or injured. This week, we got UFC 266. That's a huge card. Before that, we got Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk. We're going to be covering all this stuff throughout the week. Tomorrow, at I believe it's 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, you're going to have the Canelo versus Caleb Plant press conference over in Beverly Hills. So when it was first announced last week, I think it was like maybe Thursday or Friday, that Canelo and Caleb Plant were having a press conference, the first thing I noticed is that it didn't say Free TV Fox or PBC on Fox, because for all their major press conferences, Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, who else was it? Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao versus Thurman, Manny Pacquiao versus your Dennis Ugas. These, you know, the Wilder fights, even with Luis Ortiz, these fights had press conferences that was broadcast on TV, Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1. So I said, something a little fishy about that. Then earlier this week, you know, I don't like using this, you know, type of terminology because motherfuckers be lying, you know, especially on Twitter. Oh my God. But, you know, I got a little bit of friends in the business. Also, it was also tweeted out by Keith Idek from Boxing Scene. Boxing Scene is owned by CBS. CBS is the parent company of Showtime. Well, Viacom owns all of it, but that's another video. The point I'm trying to make is I'm not confident that we'll be seeing PBC on Fox in 2022. Maybe if this was about a week or two ago, or even before Canelo versus Plant got announced, I would have been like, yo, you know, they're going to get, you know, back on Fox. So if you don't know, from my understanding, they had a 3-year deal. That deal is now at its end. There's an option for Fox to pick up for a 4th deal. Now, you can find all this stuff on the internet. In fact, we got an article right here from Keith Idek I should just read, but hey, this is not really reading Rainbow. So I guess what I'm saying is this. You know, to start off the video, before we get into Canelo versus Caleb Plant, well, I guess no, we will start with Canelo versus Caleb Plant before we talk about PBC on Fox. So, still Canelo Álvarez, 3-division champion. No, excuse me, 4-division champion, forgot 175, 154, 160, 168, 175. He had a long, nice little stint at his own weight class, Canelo weight, 155 pounds. 56, 1-2 with 38 KOs. He's been extremely active in the last year. This will be his 4th fight in 11 months. In December of last year, and remember, he had a long layoff after COVID because of COVID and whatnot, but he fought Callum Smith at 168 to take his WBA Super World title. Remember, Canelo had beat a fighter by the name of Rocky Fielding for the bullshit WBA underling title. So to me, I was like, if he defeats Callum Smith, I'm going to give him all the credit in the world because he became the champion at 168 pounds. His mandatory, it was some bullshit. Avni Yildirim shouldn't have been the mandatory, but I covered at Avni Yildirim versus Anthony Durrell. That's a whole, you know, different situation. But Avni Yildirim was the WBA, the WBC mandatory, so he had to fight him. Billy Joe Saunders, in my opinion, he didn't do shit. You know, Canelo just showed him levels. And I thought that Billy Joe Saunders would have gave him a tougher fight. But Billy Joe Saunders at 168 pounds, you know, I just didn't have no confidence in him. And also, you know, Billy Joe Saunders ain't do shit since David Lemieux. He just, you know, the sad thing about it is I don't know where Billy Joe Saunders goes from here. Yeah, there'll be good fights out there for him. Well, anyway, now Canelo's fighting Caleb Plant. Now, I don't like talking about fighters' money. I really don't like talking about it. But the rumor is, been going around, Canelo's going to get upwards to $40 million. Caleb Plant, $10 million. Now, is that money guaranteed? Where is it coming from? And wasn't one of Canelo's goals for fighting Caleb Plant was to be, you know, on the Fox platform? Now he's back on Showtime. But hey, he's getting his money, right? And he wants the belt. The first ever undisputed champion in the 168-pound era. And I guess a lot of people are going to look at it as Canelo's paying for the belt. Now, this is just one of my many videos leading up to the fight. I have not decided yet, but I really need to get to a fight. And breaking the fourth wall here, you know, I got a good relationship with the PBC side. You know, I've covered many PBC events in the past. You know, ringside, some of them surprisingly, but we made some friends over there. You know, sent some fruit baskets, no bullshit. You know, so, you know, I'm considering it. So I'm either going to go to Herring versus Stevenson or Canelo versus Plant, meaning try to. I'm not saying the motherfucker's going to let me in, all right? But we are with the WBC channel right now, and the links are down below in the description box. All my videos, boxing content, certain select boxing events, $14.99 will be on the app. You can download it on Apple, Roku, and the Google Android platforms. I'm going to do a whole video on it, but last week I did a lot of, we're going to get back to boxing, but last week I've been doing a lot of planning and really like fixing up the channel and the platform, because since June this year, this has been the most consistent run with boxing that I've had since like 2015. No bullshit. I'm like, we've been really doing some numbers. We're getting back up to 1 million views a month. So, we doing some numbers, bro. But anyway, it's time for me to start getting back out the fights. So let me say it like this. I like Caleb Plant, marketable fighter. Or should I say it? I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Wigger, huh? Or the Great White Hope. There's some sellability here. We can talk about it, right? This is T-shirt controversy. He's got the mouthpiece. He can work the microphone. 21-0 with 12 KOs. He got that smug confidence about him. He kind of sort of passes the eye test. To me, I'm going to go ahead and say, listen, fighters have the eye of the tiger when it comes to big fights. Some of them shine under the lights. Some of them fold. We don't know Caleb Plant yet. I'm not trying to count him out. But I haven't seen nothing. And I watch all these fights. I haven't seen nothing to be like, yo, Caleb Plant, I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Plant got the moves. He going out, box, pat, 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 pat. I don't see it. I've been covering these fights. I don't see it. Let's go look at the resume. Bro, listen, I like Caleb Truax. He's fighting David Benavidez. No, wait, excuse me. Who's Caleb Truax fighting? He don't got to fight. And why do I always get him and both? It's probably they nugget heads. I always get him and Uskata guy mixed up, even though Truax from fucking Minnesota or some shit. Oh, anyway, moving on. Vincent Fegan boots? Subway Mike Lee? Do you really want... Listen, watch this. Watch this shit right here. And I'm supposed to believe, I know we're taking a little bit of commercial break. Bro, and I'm supposed to believe that this guy,
When it comes to training,
You gotta eat right.
Utopia,
Gotta try the new oven crisp chicken sandwich.
never fried.
Never greasy, always tasty.
Merely 7 grams of fat.
Time out. What?
Talk about a game changer.
Grease is out.
Fresh taste is in.
Where else but Subway? The new oven crisp chicken. Tackle one today.
Count me in.
I'm all over that like a hanging curve.
bro, I'm sorry. I've been smoking, so I get a little excited when I see cheesy ass. That's Subway Mike Lee. So come on, you ain't gonna be going around beating up Mike Lee, and then I'm supposed to give you a chance with Canelo. I'm sorry. So, all right, let's go take a deep dive into the resume though. Look. Rogelio Bad Medina. Remember that guy, well, if you don't know hardcore, he pretty much ended Jalen Love's career. Had Jalen on the canvas twerking in front of his mom. No bullshit. You know, Rogelio Medina was considered like a gatekeeper type of fight-ish. You know, like type of fighter. You know, guys like James DeGale had to go through him. I believe that David Benavidez fought him too, you know, but I've covered him plenty times. You know, so that was a nice fight at the time, 2018. But even though he was long in the tooth, and I believe that Rogelio Medina was like fat and all sloppy looking, even though he made weight, still, that was a nice little fight for Caleb Plant. The Jose Uzcategui guy, now let me tell you something. I was never high on Jose Uzcategui, maybe because I was never high on Andre Darrell after the Super 6 tournament. And somebody brought that up on my Twitter. That was one hellacious tournament to cover. I was covering that shit for like 2 years. This was back in during T Street's infancy. Yeah, Porky Medina, Bad Medina. So, but I was never high on Uzcategui. I remember Matvey Korobov had beat him up in the past. So when Caleb Plant beat Uzcategui, that was supposed to be Caleb Plant's biggest fight. And I was like, you know, Caleb Plant gonna really have no problem with him. So since then, he's fought Subway Mike Lee. And remember, he was all spitting in the ring and shit, nasty ass. He went from being a gentleman to some ill Mike Lee. And then, okay, IBF mandatory, Vincent Feigenbutz. Okay, all right, okay, all right, mandatory. But then Caleb Truax, mind you, my personal opinion, Caleb Truax wasn't supposed to beat Peter Quillen. It was supposed to be Caleb Plant versus Peter Quillen. But Peter Quillen shit the bed, and Caleb Truax got the win. You know. But you got to go back. You got to watch your boxing to know what I'm talking about. And now he's fighting Canelo, making an alleged, rumored $10 million. God darn it. It's my office phone. I don't call in here. Who's calling? Yeah, I still got a house phone. What was I saying? You know, I just don't. I want to believe in Caleb Plant. I want to believe. I mean, yeah, he'll be able to talk. By the way, the press conference we're going to be streaming here live tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. Just hold on 1 minute. Let me pick this up here.
When it comes to training,
You gotta eat right.
Gotta try the new oven crisp chicken sandwich.
never fried.
Never greasy, always tasty.
Merely 7 grams of fat.
Time out. What?
Talk about a game changer.
Grease is out.
Fresh taste is in.
Where else but Subway? The new oven crisp chicken. Tackle one today.
Count me in.
I'm all over that like a hanging curve.
Subway,
The official training restaurant of Ryan Howard
Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck.
Mike Lee,
and athletes everywhere. When it comes
All right, yeah. So, you know, I want to believe in Caleb Plant. You know, I want to be like, yo, Caleb Plant gonna go in there, and you know he gonna show Canelo something he ain't seen before. Bro, Canelo fought Floyd even though he lost and Lara. I'm talking about boxers. You know, Amir Khan, yeah, but you know, I don't really count him. You know, Miguel Cotto, and I'm supposed to believe, you know, Caleb Plant gonna be able to do something? You know, unless Canelo been overtraining or burnt out or, you know, I don't know what's going on in that Reynoso camp. I was about to throw some shots. I was going to say, unless they ran out of herbal tea or some shit. You know, saw that shit affected Valdez. He didn't have his tea for the week. He have his fight week tea. I got my tea right here. It's green tea. But yeah, it's all cold. You know? No, my bad. It was Angulo who had took my bad. It was Angulo. See, I covered the fight too. It was Angulo that had beat up and spoiled the plans of Peter Quillen. So let's go look at the rankings real quick. Now, one thing I noticed is now that Showtime is picking it up, it's on November the 6th. That very next week, which is probably going to be, well, it is likely going to be the lead-in to the card, you're going to have David Benavidez taking on Jose Uzcategui. Perfect timing, right? So on that same night, November the 13th, you're going to see David Benavidez versus Uzcategui and Canelo versus Plant replay and the return of Jose Benavidez. Ooh, seductive. Here's how the division plays out. David Benavidez will likely be the next WBC mandatory for Canelo at 168. I'm wondering if Canelo will fight him next. Okay, let's say, we don't want to look too far down the trough here. But who does Canelo fight if he wins? Because it looks like to me he's going to stay at 168, but they were also entertaining, Dimitri Bivol. So would it be David Benavidez next? By the way, of course, I got David Benavidez over Uzcategui. I'm talking about the man like he don't even exist. The 168-pound division is not really, it's deep, I guess. If Charlo move up, Charlo going to have to do something. I think Charlo and Benavidez going to have to fight if both of them don't get Canelo next. Golovkin, I don't even want to talk about him no more. He don't exist no more to me. He ain't doing shit. What up, Donnell? You think Canelo going to unify and vacate? I don't think so. But then why would he hold on? I mean, I don't know. You think he's going to move to 175? I don't see Canelo going ever back down to 160. Why would he? When he's the man, he can tell people to move up. He ain't going down to 160. Well, anyway, let's move on to the next topic. One thing I do... oh my God, I'm being harassed. This is harassment. I'm seeing, man. Sorry, I'm being unprofessional. I got to turn this ringer off. It's Monday. I try to stay away from doing videos on Monday because there'd be so much shit I got to take care of so I can be able to devote the whole week to boxing. So once again, we're going to be streaming, and I know I'm going to get myself cleaned up. I look like shit. I got some more, gear coming. It's been a rough couple of months. I'm always in some legal shit. It's almost over. But listen, we're doing good. So this week, we're going to be streaming the UFC 266 press conference, weigh-in, post-fight press conference, and I'm covering the card. Got to make that sweet money, Joshua versus Usyk, God knows, it might be a Zoom call tomorrow morning with all the fighters except for the main event. I haven't checked the fight week schedule yet. I got to set up all those streams. We're going to be streaming the main press conference, the undercard press conference, likely the media workouts, the weigh-in, and the post-fight press conference. So we got already about 9 streams that we're doing for the week, not including this one. And in about 2 hours, I'm going to be doing a fight week stream also on Joshua versus Usyk. So before I continue on talking about Showtime versus, Fox, which broadcast I like, yes, I just told you we're going to be here tomorrow for the Canelo versus Plant press conference. Don't get me off track. We stream all Canelo press conferences. Do you guys have to ask? Jesus. All right, let's get on. Come on, man, grow up. Thank you guys for subscribing, supporting. Yes, we're going to be here tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. It's 2 p.m. here right now. So 2.5 hours from now, 1:30 Pacific, we're going to be here live streaming the Canelo versus Plant press conference. Also, down below in the description box, I put all this down there for a reason. Do me a solid. I know you got a little bit of space left on your phone. I put some links down below for some apps that I need you, the app I need you to download. The WBC has an app. You're going to be able to see my content, free fights, media events, etc., etc. Right down below, the WBC network sponsored by Vive. T Street is making some moves around here, doing it for you, the people. All right, So let's move on. So the fight is going to be on Showtime pay-per-view. It's not on PBC on Fox. I'm not going to be surprised if the pay-per-view is going to be $79.99 because that's the price of Fury versus Joshua 3. The undercard has not been announced yet. However, don't expect for the undercard to be very good. You know, I'm talking about expect maybe some A sides or some B sides versus like J and Q sides, that type, because there's not enough money to go around. Canelo is rumored to be making a $40 million. What? That don't make sense to me. I don't believe it. But that's supposed to be the rumor. And Caleb planned about 10 million. I'm wondering if that's guaranteed or they're telling them you got to sell a certain amount of pay-per-views to get that number. Now remember, UFC 2X268 is on that very same night at the same time. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be covering them both. UFC, they stack their cards. And majority of the time, no, not majority, but a good portion of the time, the cards don't look the same come fight night. But I don't see enough in Canelo versus Plant to be able to sell 500,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, I cover and watch all of these pay-per-views. So you can't say I'm just up here just talking this shit and not covering and watching the pay-per-views, the numbers from everybody. This is what I do. So, you know, I can say that from what I've seen with the trending of these pay-per-views, 300,000 pay-per-view buys at $80 a pop. What's that math? Somebody do the math in the chat for me. You know, I don't know. I don't see it doing no 500,000. What of Canelo name? I mean, yeah, they're going to heavily sell it as, you know, Canelo undisputed. That's what they're going to sell it as. You know, and expect for all the Mexicans to buy it. I think they should put Chris Arreola on the undercard, maybe against Charles Martin. What's Jose Zito Lopez doing? These guys should come cheap, right? Fuck it. Put Adrian Broner on there. That may not hurt nobody. However, if Adrian Broner put on a shitty performance in front of a whole bunch of Mexicans, they might just throw trash at him and shit. The live gate, you know, is going to be some money in that. 24 million at 300,000. Pay-per-view buys at $80 a pop. And you have to think, you know, it's a lot of pay-per-views, guys. On October the 9th, we got Fury versus Wilder 3. We got Crawford versus Porter on the 20th. That's going to get a lot of... If you were to pick one fight, right, which would you pick? If you said, you know what? I'm out here. I just got off unemployment. I'm back working. Or I'm on unemployment. I'm home chilling. You know what? But damn, which fight am I going to buy and which one am I going to stream illegally for free? Which one am I going to steal? Huh? Which one would you buy and which one would you steal? You thieves. That make me sick. Canelo versus Plant or Crawford versus Porter? Which one going to get your money? I want to vote in the chat. One for Canelo is the one you're going to buy. Or two, wait, that don't make no sense. Just tell me what I'm high, don't worry about me. 600,000 pay-per-view buys, what? You talking about global? What's the international money going to look like? Oh, well, maybe, you know, Canelo going to get some of that 40 from, you know, South America. You know, our Mexican people spend a lot of money. I don't know, cuz. I'm not feeling it. I have concerns. Also, we get to get all access. Now, I love PBC on Fox and their show, their programming, even though they cut a lot of it. For example, on PBC on Fox, you get PBC Fight Camp, which is pretty much a PG watered down version of All Access. You know, they cater to, you know, newer fans and channel surfers. But with Showtime, we're going to get at least 2 episodes of All Access before the fight and one after an epilogue. That's going to be for mature audiences only. And Canelo and Plant get to talk their shit. Maybe we'll get a face-to-face on Showtime. Remember, PBC on Fox, they cut that with Brian Campbell. Those were awesome. Maybe we get that on Showtime because they brought it back for Paul versus Woodley. So why not call up Brian Custer, see if he got some extra time, maybe tomorrow after the press conference. Somebody sit down, more Ronaldo, somebody sit down with Canelo and Caleb Plant and, you know, talk to him for about an hour, you know? Give us a face-to-face. You know, they have the All Access Daily, which they run on their YouTube channel. That stuff's pretty good. And, you know, even though I pretty much sat around and watched football all day yesterday, you know, I forget that CBS can also promote the fight during football games like Fox would. So really, what is the real difference? Maybe the platform name because it's Fox? I don't know what's so good about, you know, Canelo versus Plant. It's the belt. It's the undisputed. I don't know where Caleb Plant got all this clout from, bro. I don't know where he got it from, but, you know, good for him. You know, I've already told the story earlier in the video about how I felt about his wins over Bad Medina, Jose Uzcat, the guy, Mike Lee, Thegan Boots, and Caleb Truax. You know, hey, listen, I watch the fights. You know, I'm sitting here, I'm watching the motherfuckers. So to me, the selling point is the belt. So to move on to our final topic of the video, we were talking about it earlier, and I am torn on if I feel that that Fox should renew their PBC deal. It's looking like the PBC deal may be done. Because why wouldn't they pick up this fight? By the way, Manny Pacquiao retired. I should do a whole video on that. He's running for president. And my understanding, that pay-per-view against Yordenis Ugas didn't do that well, or as well as people, or as well as it needed to do. But that's understandable because it was supposed to be Errol Spence. Going on to Fox, listen, I watched them fights. You find some hidden gems in them. But when you're talking about these fights doing 1 million views and all that, and 1 million households, think about the reach that these channels have. These PBC on Fox fights have been, you know, they've been hard to tolerate. Now, the PBC on FS1 shows I can deal with because those are, you know, build-up fights, you know, growth fights. Those are the type of fights that you put on that type of platform. But if you're Fox, you know, why would you, you know, go into this another year? And especially when the guy who's supposed to be leading the charge, Errol Spence, is out for God knows how long. So when you really look at who can carry the torch for Fox, who? Yeah, I'm LDBC. Thanks. For life. So there's been rumors, trickling of rumors that PBC may be heading over to the Paramount Plus app streaming service. That's going to be some shit, right? To hear, you know, Leonard Ellerby, the PBC fighters, you know, watches over on Paramount Plus. And of course, Paramount Plus is under the Viacom CBS, you know, Showtime's under that banner as well. That's going to be interesting. But if they stay on Fox, then it's like, yo, okay, the pandemic is pretty much over. You know, like, slow down the frequency of fights and give us better fights. Simple as that. I understand, you know, it's difficult for them to put on A-side versus A-sides, but at least, you know, we got Charlo Harrison 1 and 2. And then wasn't Santa Cruz Maris 2 on that joint too on Fox? So I don't know, man. You know, that's a different video, but we're going to be back in a couple hours because we got to do a deep dive on Joshua versus Usyk. I haven't really done like a full preview. I did one little small preview on the card, but I need to do an in-depth joint, especially since we're going to be streaming all of the media events this week. So I just want to get that all out the way. So take time out, like the video, subscribe, hit that little bell thing down somewhere that people be saying shit so you can remember to watch my videos. Download the apps I told you to download is download in the description box. Do me a favor, you know, you ain't doing nothing. You got the space on your phone. And remember, we're going to be here after all of these fights. Every single major fight live, we do post-fight videos, uncut. You know, that's our own little niche there with highlights and all that crap. It's not crap. History Controversy with FightView360.com.